Our British Grand Prix F1 driver ratings. Beginning with Logan Sargent. Started 14th, finished 11th. Logie Bear impressed me this weekend. He did very well. He got the upgrades for that Williams car, which he was gasping for. And I'm giving him an 8 out of 10 because it was the best drive of his career. Solid, consistent, just missed out on points. When we're taking into account what Tommy said at the beginning of the year about him being a P20 merchant, and now look at him, P11 merchant, still no points, but consolidates his place as 19th in the Drivers' Championship.
Yeah, I've gone for 8 out of 10 as well. Great race from Logie Sarge. Best of his career, definitely. I'm happy to be proven wrong because Williams, I just didn't see them improving, but I should have done because James Vowles is a legend, like we said in the race review one, and they're on the up. They look like the 7th best team now. So yeah, well done.
Well done, Logie. We now get to Alex Albon. Started 8th, finished 8th.
I've gone for an 8 out of 10 as well. No, 9. I've gone for a 9.
You were waiting for me to go.
It's weird because 9 out of 10 is obviously a really good score, and it is a Williams, but maybe we need to just accept that's where they are now. But in my head, P8 in a Williams is still deserving of a 9 out of 10. But well done, Alex Albon. Really good to see Williams now properly fighting in that mid-pack and, well, even challenging some of the top teams. So really good to see.
So I've gone for a 9 out of 10 for Alex. I think it was an incredibly impressive weekend for Williams as a whole. It's weird to think that after practice, I'm actually a little bit disappointed that they only finished 8th. Really good from Alex. Another Q3 appearance for him. I did predict in pole. Didn't happen in our graphic, but, you know, still an incredibly impressive weekend. We now go to Nick de Vries.
Ex-F1 driver.
Oh, Tommy, too soon. I mean, it's factually correct.
Literally true.
Started 18th, finished 17th. I'm going to give him a 4 out of 10 because I don't want to be any more harsh than that. He's just lost his seat. This is the last grade we're going to be giving him. To be honest with you, it wasn't like Silverstone was the straw that broke the camel's back, in my opinion, because he wasn't far off Yuki all weekend. The car was a dog, and he finished just behind him, I think, and his race pace was comparable.
Yeah, gone for a 4 out of 10 as well.
And also he was compromised because he stopped before the safety car.
He did. But yeah, AlphaTauri is a pretty rubbish car, but we'll see what Daniel Ricciardo can do with it in Hungary from now on.
Points in Hungary. You heard it here first.
It was too little too late for Nick de Vries.
Now go to Yuki Tsunoda. Started 16th, finished 16th.
I have gone for a 5 out of 10. Just average. AlphaTauri looked a bit rubbish. Yuki performed average. Just middle of the road. Nothing to shout about. Let's see how good AlphaTauri actually is maybe when we get Daniel Ricciardo in there. And at the moment, all we can believe is that car is absolutely awful.
I've gone for a 4 out of 10 as well for Yuki. I don't feel like I can really separate Nick and Yuki too much, apart from obviously 16th and 18th being their different starting positions, but there wasn't much to separate them. Shocking. It's disappointing because Yuki has, shown that there was some potential in this car, and it's sort of fallen away. So yeah, 4 out of 10. We now go to Nico Hulkenberg. Started 11th, finished 13th. I'm going to go with a 5 out of 10. Had just missed out on Q3, which was a shame for him. Then he had that tiny bit of contact with Perez, which I think was quite unlucky. And yeah, finished 13th. Not really much more than straight down the middle for me.
I've gone for a 6 out of 10 for Hulkenberg because he qualified well, annihilated Magnussen in qualifying, and then unfortunate with Perez. Don't think it was really his fault, but I don't think it was anything malicious from Perez. It was just one of those incidents where they get a bit too close. So a 6 out of 10.
We now go to Kevin Magnussen. Started 19th, finished DNF.
Gone for a 5 out of 10 for Magnussen. He had reliability issues in both quali and the race, and it's not really going particularly well for him at the moment. Just recently it feels like he's not really anywhere, but it's hard to blame him too much when obviously his car kept setting on fire, so I've just given it straight down the middle.
Fair enough. I'm going to go with a 4 out of 10 for Kevin Magnussen. It's just, as you kind of alluded to there, his season is really sort of falling by the wayside now. He needs a big result, I think, in order to really start his season again. But not much to say about the Hasses. They're just washed. Shame for both of them that they couldn't score any points or even really get close. Now go to Lance Stroll. Started 12th, finished 14th. I'm going to go with a 3 out of 10 for Lance. Very difficult weekend. Punted Gasly. It was just clumsy. It was messy. Obviously didn't make it through to Q3. Ended up finishing down in 14th in an Aston Martin that is still capable of scoring points. So yeah, Lance, once again, I think a pretty poor weekend. Gets 2 penalty points as well for that collision.
Yeah, gone for a 4 out of 10 for Lance. Not much to shout about. And actually, yeah, slower than Fernando, even though the Aston Martin did look like it was struggling and not a particularly great race, and then to get an incident as well. So yeah, 4 out of 10.
Do you have trouble watching certain shows, sports, or anything else due to your location? Well, worry no more. Surfshark VPN is here to help. They are offering an exclusive Surfshark deal. Enter promo code P1 for an extra 3 months free at surfshark.deals/P1. You also get other added benefits like being able to search and browse the internet to your heart's content, knowing that no one else is going to see what you're doing. With the wonders of data encryption, you are protected. Why not also try out Surfshark Alert whilst you're there, giving you real-time alerts to any breaches of your data. Passwords, emails, credit cards, all monitored so you don't have to. So what are you waiting for? Enter promo code P1 for an extra 3 months free at surfshark.deals/P1. Fernando Alonso up next, started 9th, finished 7th.
I've gone for a 7 out of 10 for Fernando. I think the Aston Martin not suited a track like Silverstone, high speed, same with Austria, but Fernando, being Fernando, still manages to get the most out of it. You know what I think of Alonso, and I absolutely believe that no one else would have been able to get any higher than a P7 in that Aston, so I think it's a 7 out of 10. It just
interesting, because you literally just said the words of Fernando. No one else could do any better than P7. You're only giving him a 7 out of 10 for a car that we're quite clearly sort of saying is pretty washed. I mean, I'm going to give him an 8 out of 10 just purely because of the fact that Aston Martin is not as quick as it once was at the start of the season. Of course, he did benefit under the safety car, but it didn't mean it was a slam dunk when we went back racing. And ended up beating both the Ferraris, whatever, don't care. And finished 7th, which was a really good points haul. So I think that's a representative score. Tommy, do you want to change yours? Or you keep him with a 7?
No, because he did benefit from the safety car, so 7.
Valtteri Bottas started 20th, finished 12th. I'm going to go for a 7 out of 10 for Valtteri Bottas. He had a problem in qualifying, which meant that he couldn't give a fuel sample, so he had to start at the back and was making his way through the field a little bit. Old Valtteri, showing some actual pace, I would say. A solid performance from Bottas.
Yeah, I've gone for a 7 out of 10 as well. I think it was a good performance. Say he was unlucky in qualifying to have the issue, and he's fought back through the field. Still got no points, but that Alfa Romeo is pretty awful.
ZHOU GUANYU started 17th, finished 15th.
I have gone for a 5 out of 10 for ZHOU GUANYU. Another straight down the middle where, yes, he had a problem where a tear-off was caught in his brake duct, apparently. Yeah, it did a 3-stop, actually, which is never never good when it's a 1-stop race.
Not good around Silverstone either. It's a long pit lane, that.
Never gonna help you.
I've gone for a 5 out of 10 for ZHOU GUANYU. I'm a bit sad, really, to see the sort of tail off for Zhou, because he was starting to show this quite decent pace compared to Bottas. I know he's had problems. Obviously, he got a tear off caught in his brake duct, and he had to do a lot of stops. But just in general, like his qualifying was 17th. We're not seeing those small little star performances that we started to connect with ZHOU GUANYU as a driver. Fingers crossed for his sake, he's able to get 1 or 2 of those in the near future. We now go to Oscar Piastri. Started 3rd, finished 4th. I've gone for a 10 out of 10. I don't care what anyone says. He's getting a straight, fat, bang 10. Didn't even end up on the podium and he's getting a 10. This is the highest 10 probably you're going to see for a P4. Cannot stress how unbelievably impressed I was with Oscar Piastri. Got unlucky with the safety car. That was a nailed-on podium if K-Mag didn't press the explode button. And Oscar, just misses out. But that performance proves to me that there is plenty more to come from Oscar Piastri, and I think even Lando Norris fans should be maybe just a little bit worried, just purely because that performance was unbelievable. He was on Lando's pace pretty much the entire race.
And without all the upgrades as well, which is mad to think. 10 out of 10. For me, it's one of the best performances of the season. He was really, really good. To say that he's a rookie, we've seen how much rookies have struggled over the last, few years. And he's done an unbelievable job. Like you say, he could have quite easily crumbled. And he only lost the podium through misfortune because of the safety car, which Lewis benefited from massively. What a performance.
Yeah, he's announced himself on the scene, hasn't he? Really impressive from Oscar. We now go to Lando Norris. Started second, finished second.
It's another 10 out of 10. And another one of the best performances of the year. Not many better performances I can think of this year than this drive from Lando. Really good performance, great drive, just showed that give him a good car and he has got what it takes to fight the Lewis Hamiltons, the Max Verstappens, etc.
Hell yeah, it's a 10 out of 10 for me as well. Lando in qualifying especially, I think, was incredibly impressive with the fact that he took provisional pole, and I don't think anyone saw that coming, and then obviously narrowly missed out to Max Verstappen. I say narrowly, it was quarter of a second in the end, wasn't it? But it was still a really good performance on the Saturday, and then turn it into Sunday, gets an unbelievable start, takes it to Verstappen, even extends to over a second in the first few laps, and gave us all hope that we might actually have a race on our hands. Lando Norris, Hamilton said already, he's a future world champion. I completely agree. He's got all the minerals of the George Russells of this world and the Charles Leclercs of this world. So well done, Lando. Well done, McLaren. You did an amazing job. We now go to Pierre Gasly. Started 10th, finished DNF. I've gone for a 6 out of 10 for Pierre Gasly because he was running in the bottom end of the points, but then, of course, had that Stroll fight. I think he also got screwed over by the safety car slightly, and that's why he had that Stroll battle. I don't think it's definitely not Gasly's best season so far.
No, I've gone for a 7 out of 10 for Gasly. I think he was unlucky, one of those ones that got screwed by the unfortunate pit timing and then was going to pick up solid points. I think he had the measure of Ocon, who's this whole weekend really, but Alpine had a shocker. Both cars DNFing.
Certainly did. Esteban Ocon up next, started 13th, finished DNF.
Difficult one to grade because he only did a handful of laps before retiring, but didn't do great in quali either, so I'm going for a 5 out of 10.
Yeah, 5 out of 10 for me as well, mainly because of that quali performance. Can't give him any higher than that. As you say, Gasly did look like he had the measure over Ocon this time out, but yeah, a shame for Esty Bestie because I did put him as biggest good surprise, and he decided to do another flop, which was really annoying. So I could have cashed in on 3 really good flops, which sounds weird saying out loud. Lewis Hamilton now started 7th, finished 3rd. I've gone for an 8 out of 10 for Lewis Hamilton for this particular Grand Prix. He made a mistake on lap 1, went wide. His race didn't look particularly great for most of it until the safety car came out. Now, I'm still giving him an 8 just purely because his strategy was to go really long and to hope to benefit from a safety car. So that was a preemptive decision for him to go as long as he possibly could. Yeah, still a solid drive, and getting on a podium is absolutely something he will take at the British Grand Prix, where that did not look likely for half the race.
Definitely not. I've gone for a 7 out of 10 for Hamilton, which may seem quite low for finishing 3rd, but it was very fortunate that he managed to get that safety car. I know he said he played for it, but the Magnussen broke down just at that pit stop window, so some people got fortunate. He said he was going to go lap longer. 50. Hamilton said he'd go to lap 50 if he had to. He was out there. That is probably the harshest podium 7 out of 10 I've ever heard. Yeah, he dropped to P9 at the start, had a bad start, and then the safety car saved him, of course. It was a solid drive. Mercedes, weirdly, didn't look particularly good at all. Maybe they'll suit the Hungary. We now go to George Russell, started 6th, finished 5th. Gone for a 7 out of 10 as well for George. Think he was actually on Hamilton's level this weekend, if not the quicker of the two, but didn't have the fortune of the safety car. And yeah, it was a shame to see that he couldn't get past Charles Leclerc, even though he had those soft tyres. I've gone for an 8 out of 10 for George because
there was potentially a third or fourth place beckoning had it not been for the safety car. So I think as well George's soft tyre stint needs to be recognised, because that was an amazing pace that he put in there for so many laps, but just pitted before the safety car came out and therefore lost that position. I'd say a decent performance from the pair of them. So well done to Hamilton and Russell, considering the car not looking that great. We now go to Carlos Sainz. Started 5th, finished 10th. For a 4 out of 10 for Carlos. Made a mistake in qualifying, lost out because of the safety car, then decided to stay on his hards for the restart, which was a questionable decision from both Sainz and also Ferrari. I'm surprised Carlos didn't take it into his own hands to say, absolutely not. Then he got completely and utterly swallowed up by Perez, Albon, Leclerc, and finished 10th after starting 5th. It's just a stinker.
Absolute pain. I've gone for a 5 out of 10 for Sainz. It's a shame, again, the Carlos Sainz can't just seem to have a good weekend. Now he's on Charles' pace. There always seems to be something that goes wrong, but this time it was for both of them. Ferrari were just really, really bad.
Everything was wrong. Not one thing was right. Well, qualifying went all right, but then everything else went wrong. Charles Leclerc started 4th, finished 9th.
Gone for a 5 out of 10 as well. Yeah, not good for Ferrari at all. 9th and 10th from where they started is shocking, when I'm sure a lot of people, including me, said at the start, we were there going, can McLaren hold on? And you'd kind of think that Ferrari would have been one of those people to chase them down and to finish behind Alex Albon in a Williams, even though we know it's an improved Williams now, is pretty poor indeed. And they're going to be sweating if they keep having results like that when McLaren have improved.
I've gone for a 5 out of 10 for Charles. He made a mistake in qualifying, otherwise he could have potentially been on the front row, which was disappointing. Then pit early. His pace was rubbish when he came out on the hards as well. He was stuck in traffic, really rubbish, and then pit again under the VSC. So he'd literally stopped maybe 10 laps prior to or 15 laps prior to when the safety car came out, then came back in the pits again, and then lost out to Albon in the pits. I want to move on, because that is an absolutely shocking weekend from starting 4th and 5th on the grid. Sergio Perez up next, started 15th, finished 6th. I'm giving him a 5 out of 10 because I am sick and tired of Sergio Perez not making it to Q3 in a Red Bull. 5 times.
In a row. 6 times this year.
Nico Hulkenberg has made it through to more Q3s than Sergio Perez. 5 out of 10. Just horrible qualifying, and then just didn't seem to be catching or going through the field quickly enough for a car that we believe is still very dominant. What's going on, Perez? You know what I mean? Like, they're literally hiring Daniel Ricciardo to scare you. Like, you need to pick it up.
I've gone for a 5 out of 10 as well. 6th in a Red Bull when your teammate is just wiping the floor with the field every single race is not good enough. And he didn't even fly through the field. But if Max Verstappen was able to pass the McLaren for P1, surely Perez can get through the field and pass people like Logan Sargent and the Hasses and whatever a lot quicker than he did.
Sorry, Perez fans, but it's not looking great. We now get to Max Verstappen, where it is looking great. Started 1st, finished 1st.
Yeah, it's another 10 out of 10. People will go, oh, it's so boring, exactly like Matt did there. But we also have people going, oh, you always dismiss him and don't even talk about him. So that's because
he's unbelievable.
Yeah,
what more do you want to say?
Need to say?
He is Thanos. He is clicking his fingers and everybody else disappears in his rearview mirrors because he is unreal.
Exactly. 42 wins at the age of 25 is insane. He's just making F1 look very, very easy.
He certainly is. 10 out of 10 for me as well. Verstappen is just unbeatable. Even when he gets beaten off the line, he's got the pace in the car, he's got the racecraft, he's got the patience, he's got everything that is required to be one of the best drivers that Formula One's ever seen. We now go to who is our P1. I'm going for Oscar Piastri, my P1. He's forever in my heart. I backed him at the start of the season. He's finally shown what I believed he had, and he's shown the world that. And hopefully he starts strutting around with a bit more swagger now. A bit more like, yeah, I belong
confidence.
here.
Yeah. I'll go for Lando to be different. Really good. It's a very difficult choice between the two, but I'll save my P1 for Oscar Piastri when he gets on the podium, which I don't think will be very long.
That is it. That is our driver ratings. I hope you have enjoyed. Let us know your thoughts. I'm sure you already have typed out a very angry comment about how something's washed and we've got something wrong or our opinions are incorrect. Well, it is an opinion. That is the beauty of these driver ratings, is to trigger you into commenting. So you've fallen for the trap. I'm just kidding. But thanks so much for engaging with the series as always. Take care. Adios. Bye.
Bye.